Hello guys, you're welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to look at the mass spectrometry. Mass spectrometry. So when we're talking about the mass spectrometry, it just involves the measurement of masses of charged particles and their relative amount or their relative abundance in nature. The measurement of charged particles and their relative amount or their relative abundance. The instrument that is used in mass spectrometry is known as the mass spectrometer. The instrument used in mass spectrometry is known as the mass spectrometer. So in this lesson, we are going to look at the description of the mass spectrometer and how it also operates. Is that okay? But first of all, once we're talking about the mass spectrometer, we need to know some essential features of the mass spectrometer. These are examinable questions. They can ask you to state the essential features of the mass spectrometer. Is that okay? So in this lesson, we are going to explore the essential features of the mass spectrometer and how each of these features operates as a generalized function of the mass spectrometer. Is that okay? Alright, so this is a diagram of the mass spectrometer. Is that okay? This is a sketch of the mass spectrometer. Now let's go through the essential features of the mass spectrometer. First of all, I have here one. This area is known as the vaporization chamber. This is the first essential feature of a mass spectrometer. It is known as the vaporization chamber. So this diagram you see here, or this area indicates the vaporization chamber. That is the first essential feature. Another feature is what I have here. This region is known as the ionization chamber. This region is known as the ionization chamber. So in the ionization chamber, I have an electric plate which is positively charged at the upper side here, and then directly opposite to this electric plate is a heated or a coil filament. Is that okay? The heated or coil filament emits electrons, high-speed electrons. Is that okay? This region forms what we call the ionization chamber. Is that okay? After the ionization chamber, I have two electric plates here, one negative and then one positive. Negative and then positive plates, which forms what we call the electric field. That is a third essential feature. So this area here forms what we call the electric field. Is that okay? So we have the vaporization chamber, the ionization chamber, the electric field. Is that okay? Now the next essential feature is what we have here. So over here we use an electromagnet. This electromagnet is curled around the mass spectrometer. This electromagnet introduced a magnetic field. Is that okay? This electromagnet introduced a magnetic field. So the next essential feature I have here is known as the magnetic field. Is that okay? So the vaporization chamber, the ionization chamber, the electric field, the magnetic field. The last essential feature of this mass spectrometer is known as the detector. So I have labeled here the detector. Is that okay? It's labeled as the detector. This is the last essential feature of the mass spectrometer. So mass spectrometry deals with the measurement of charged particles regarding their masses and their relative abundance in nature. Is that okay? And the instrument we use in mass spectrometry is the mass spectrometer. So this is a diagram of the mass spectrometer. And I said also under mass spectrometer, for examination purposes, we need to know the essential features of the mass spectrometer. We have one, the vaporization chamber, the ionization chamber, the electric field, the magnetic field, and the detector. Is that okay? These are the 5 essential features of the mass spectrometer. The 5 essential features of the mass spectrometer. Now the next question is, how does the mass spectrometer operate?